Don't you want it? 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 You lose your little mind. My Deadlights.
Deadlights Podcast. Welcome to the Deadlights Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Johnston.
And I am Leslie, bringing you your weekly dose of horror, everybody.
Weekly dose of horror.
Oh, horror.
Yeah. And we're back. I know we didn't really leave it anywhere from you.
No.
But we've been kind of on a break for the last, month or so.
We took a break. We, instead of watching stuff at your house, we went to the theater.
Yes, which was nice.
Which was amazing because, after the pandemic, it's been quite difficult. No, not really. I've seen a lot of films, but not nearly as much as before.
It's true.
So.
Well, and you worked in a movie theater before, too, so you were getting them, 24/7.
I do not... I have not gone that far without seeing a movie in theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like well, first of all, the experience is great. Love having the movie theater experience.
Love it.
Second,
we have a full mini-sode where we talk about...
streaming versus
theater.
Check it out.
Check
Go
it out.
look it back.
Good combo.
And then also, it's just that it's kind of like a safe place too. Well, there's been shit that's gone on in recent years that doesn't make it feel so safe, which is shitty. But it is it's an activity I feel like they all share.
Yeah,
and it's super fun. And I'm glad that we've been able to do more of it this summer.
Yes, lots of really great horror films coming about, and it makes me really happy.
Yeah, we saw some good ones.
We watched some good ones.
Yeah,
and hope you have too.
Yes, but today we didn't. Sorry to anyone involved in the movie we're about to review. We're back in the Deadlight space, and we came back with Those Who Walk Away from 2022, directed by Robert Rippberger, written by Spencer Moleda, Aaron Pollack, and Robert Rippberger.
Yeah, what the fuck is it about?
After Max and Avery meet on a social media app for a first date, they end up at a haunted house, only to realize the trauma they share may either save them or erupt into an unforgettable nightmare. Bum, bum, bum. Well, Those Who Walk Away.
Those who we should have
Just
walked away.
Out of the theater. Well, okay. Before we get into it, general notes. Poor script writing.
Yes.
I'm gonna start off with some of the negatives, and then we'll do some positives because I like ending on a good note.
Yes.
I thought it was very overwritten. Every scene felt just like, oh my god, we are the each character's lines were just so long, and it was kind of at a point where like people don't really talk like that.
No.
And it kind of seems stiff a little bit, the writing.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was really high and I couldn't make sense of it because of that, or how poorly written it was that it just jumbled up that it left me very fucking confused.
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on?
They were throwing so much information at us, I felt like, in a single scene. And also it was a little exhausting because they were long scenes of people talking a lot. So you're trying to follow it, but then you get tired of trying to follow it. So then you're missing information.
Do you think the first shot, because the first, 15 minutes of the movie was one continuous shot?
So I think that because another thing about this movie is that it is supposed to at least appear that this is all being done in one shot. Which that I think is a strong point of the movie. Yeah. Because the actual filmmaking is pretty awesome at points.
Yes.
The idea that we are following these characters in real time, continuously without seeming to break, I think is really cool.
I like the camera work, even though there were some things that perhaps this is a reason why not a lot of people use this kind of.
Again, like these kind of drawn out scenes. By the end, it did get exhausting to watch and exhausting to follow with.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay. They were getting more and more creative, but it still was like work for us to try to keep up with it.
Yes.
It felt like. But they were definitely doing long takes. Really long takes of these people just having conversation and moving through spaces. And it was pretty cool. Some of the effects with the lighting and how they switched into different spaces was pretty creative at a couple points.
Those I really like. I also even like right in the beginning.
We meet our main character, Max.
Mm-hmm.
And he immediately calls his friend, who is someone that you know.
Yeah.
And it's this cool, like, split shot that's of both of them talking to each other on the phone. At first, I actually thought it was just an editing trick, like they were bringing in another space, but no, that was actually, like, built. They built another set right next to the car.
I could tell that it was.
It was cool. But then the fact that they actually have the actor step out of the space as Max is walking away.
Yeah.
Continuing on the phone, and we see that set behind them is just like a very cool... I thought that moment was actually really awesome. We're kind of breaking the fourth wall, but you understand what's going on because they're still having a conversation
They're still having a conversation. Max he had switched from being on the phone to, like, you know, the Bluetooth iPods. And that seemed pretty natural. All of that conversation was fucking long, but it seemed more natural.
Yes. The scene that Max is having with his friend, he establishes that he was taking care of his mom for a really long time because she was sick, and then he got tired of essentially watching his mom die. So he left and went on his own to do his own thing, and he's having feelings of guilt very clearly.
It hasn't been that long since he left her, right?
It doesn't seem like it.
It seems like maybe it was a month.
Yeah, at most. I was thinking like a couple weeks, honestly, because by the end it seems like she's still alive. Yeah. So she hasn't died yet.
And I mean, that must be so difficult to witness. Somebody so dear to you and you being the only caretaker. Yeah. And, that must be so hard.
Also, it's your mom that you're, like he says, watching wither away. That's torture in itself. Yeah. And I understand the feeling of wanting to escape that and get away. He just had enough of it at a certain point and decided that he's got to live his own life. Mm-hmm. That's probably part of the decision that went into him downloading a Tinder type of app and wanting to get out there. Because that's also what this conversation is about, is it turns to, what are you doing tonight? Oh, I'm meeting up with this girl that I met online. Oh, she's here. We got to go meet up. And that's when he walks off and we go and meet Avery. Yeah. The Tinder date.
Tinder date. She, off the bat, seems like really cool.
Yes. Kind of teasing him about the car and joking around with him. She's chill.
Yeah, because she's like leaning on a car that isn't hers. Right. And then she was like, yeah, this is mine. And he was like, oh, really? And she's like, ha ha ha. Imagine it was mine.
Can you imagine if this car was mine?
Already, like, not quite, like, I don't know.
Something was off with her.
Something was off.
Yeah. Something was definitely off. And she is very forthcoming. A thing about this movie is things move extremely fast with their relationship. They start walking off, and immediately we're going into, like, both our past traumas. Like, first conversation, not much else except, I've been taking care of my mom for however many years, and it's been really hard on me, and I just need to... Like, he lays out his whole situation immediately, essentially.
It's, like, not even, the first... What's the game they played? Like, 21 questions?
Yeah, right.
Not even that to start it off.
No.
It's just kind of like, so, here's my trauma. This is my baggage I'm carrying.
And she's like, I like how honest you are. And I felt like a connection to you. She has this thing where she, like, keeps, like, saying that she's felt this connection between them, even just speaking online. Like, this more than a connection.
Yeah, because I think he had already mentioned about his mom to her, and she has, some trauma too. Yes. That she was just like, ooh, we're the same. There's that bar scene that he comes in and everybody's like looking at him.
Yeah. There's a very long close-up of the bassist just watching him
In red.
as he plays. That reminded me very much of like David Lynch.
Yes.
That moment.
Yeah.
And he's just like almost hypnotized by this like bass line that's coming at him.
Mm-hmm. I felt like that wasn't his first shot of the night.
It felt like he was already disassociating
Mm-hmm.
before that, because there was other weird scenes actually right from the top. Remember when he's at the park and he turns around and sees that kid smash his popsicle against the gazebo?
There's a big ass lollipop that you find at like a fair or Disneyland.
He just smashes it and then
throws his like leg thing.
Yeah, he has like an amputated leg. And it's just like he hits it on the ground. That was such a weird...
Yeah.
And then he
disappears.
Because Max walks past him and he's gone.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
So weird. And then we have this other moment before he walks into the bar where he sees the old lady.
It has a box of bugs. And then a mirror right next to her.
A lot of mirrors going on in this
Lots
movie,
of mirror. With his trauma, he's developed these like time lapses.
Yeah.
Because that happens to me.
Mm.
And then when he gets in the bar, who knows how many shots he's had.
Right. And when there's another moment...
Or after he's like looking at the bass player.
There's another moment too where they're in the car and there's this speed up where the camera continues their entire car ride, but it's just speeding through the entire ride. Mm-hmm. Kind of like we lost that time too.
Yeah.
It's another one of these moments that we don't know really what was talked about in those times or what they really did because they're going so fast. Maybe he doesn't really know either. Yeah. And he's getting more and more drunk at that point too. So he's like, she's also just grooming him too. She's getting him ready to feed the house.
Gaslighting him.
Yeah.
Majorly.
Yes. And then they go into the house and she's, again, just being super creepy. She has a key to get in.
Yeah. After the bar, she like kind of changed.
Full on creep mode.
She initiated a lot of those kind of like, she held his hand.
Yep.
And then she initiated the drinking, the kissing. Mm-hmm. And then she initiated being like, oh, let's get out of here and like, let's find a spot.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, if you're cool with that.
If you want to, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
whatever
absolutely.
You want.
Yeah, I'm down for anything.
Haunted house? Okay.
Yeah, wild night. I said wild night.
Yeah, I'm looking for a night out. And this kind of goes back to, I think he really is looking for that. His character's been tightly wound for so long. He's looking to let loose. She recognizes that. Let's go.
But like he does.
Easy pickings.
When they're outside of the house, he sees how creepy the house is, and he's like, actually, like, if you were down to just, like, go walk by the beach, like, I am so down for that.
Just get to know each other better.
And then she was just like, well, we can't make memories if we play it safe.
Yeah.
And I was just like, gaslighting, and also,
whoa. What are your standards? Again, she's, like, seeming like a socio-psychopath.
Oh, yeah.
Like, memories are only bad.
She doesn't smile after this. She's just, like, stoic.
She's going into a very scary place to her.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
True.
And they get up to the bedroom, and this is when we have the old switcheroo, classic. I lied. So this isn't some random haunted house. This is actually our childhood home, and my brother was molested by my father here, and now my father is dead, and he's a house, and he wants to eat you. So here's my brother. He's going to hit you in the head with a bat.
Kabam!
And then we're going to chain you to a bed. And I really like you, but we can't do this anymore. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Max.
It's me. Sorry. It's not you. And that was my question through the movie, was like, she continues to have this infatuation with him. So she seemingly actually does admire him for the things that he's gone through. And there's some sort of tie that she has between what he's gone through and what she has gone through.
And is currently going through.
I guess is going through. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so But I don't. And maybe this was just the bad acting. I don't know if she actually really did like him though in the end. Because she still defended him against her brother and all this kind of stuff. But I was just confused.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things that she did because, you know, she finally found a boy that she liked through this whole deception thing.
Yeah.
And I think she was trying, because it looks like that little kid was kept in there. And he hadn't died yet, so they had to get someone else. And she was like, "But fuck, I already had this date going on." I don't know.
Yeah, it seemed like a weird, like it was supposed to be a date, but then her brother's like, "It didn't work. Get your date to do it."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Okay, I guess. Let's go."
Otherwise, they're gonna die.
Yeah, I don't know, because she seemed like she liked him so much, but then she was so easily like. Maybe this is just the story I'm getting bogged down with, and I just can't wrap my head around it.
There's a lot of questions.
I just didn't get her. I just didn't really understand her character that much.
I didn't understand. Period.
Yeah. And next, we are continuing on.
At all. I think they could have done less with the script, answered less, or like try to not solve as much. Mm-hmm. Of the questions that we would have. Yeah. Because it already went into a supernatural kind of route that us, I don't know, then it could have just been a sick thing that they could have been doing. Exactly. That's it.
They are now about to go into her backstory more, which felt like bogged down the rest of the story of us having a connection with Max, who is the main character, and his trauma. That is the important thing. They then, to go back to your point of them introducing this whole other backstory of what happened with Avery and Philip, you're right. They're trying to wrap up all these loose ends and these stories, and it's way too much. It's a lot. It's a lot for us to try to wrap our head around. I agree. It should have been whoops, we opened a portal. And we have to feed this house.
Yeah, if you're going to go that supernatural route. Yeah. I don't know. It could have been less realistic in that sense. Mm-hmm. You know, of it being I mean, I'm pretty sure they wanted to say something with this whole sexual harassment and pedophilia and stuff. And trauma, you know, those two... having the same kind of PTSD, you know, in a sense. And the character Max seemed like he suffered from dissociative disorder because, there were times in which we maybe said that it could have been continuity or just simply they were written it that way to kind of, have time lapse. Mm-hmm. But there were just, a lot of information that I feel like Max couldn't comprehend, or he was just very passive, so he just let things happen, and then we were just kind of what? Yeah. What's going on?
And what are you saying? What were they trying to say about these things?
I don't understand what the point was.
Right, because it's I get wanting to talk about these things, you know, they're all big things that we should be talking about and addressing in art and just in general. Right. But what are you got to do more than just bring it up and just use it as a plot point, you know, because they weren't really, because it would have been stronger to me if whatever Max's trauma was more similar to the trauma that Avery and Philip were going through. To me, yes, it's both traumatic things, but there wasn't enough of a tie between their past traumas for him to really sympathize with them that much. Yeah, because his was about his mom, theirs is about their pedophilic dad. It's two very different...
And then they're still needing to feed the house because it's a vessel in which the ghost is still there, consuming, but they could just leave. And never come back.
Yeah, just don't go back to the house. Because they made a point to say, like, it's the house. The house needs to feed.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And I'm just like, okay, well, the ghost seems to be trapped in the house.
This house is also in the middle of nowhere.
Also,
like,
just burn it.
just do what...
Burn,
just burn it down.
Burn it. Get a priest. I don't know.
You don't need to feed
You're murdering children.
Right.
You are as bad as your dad.
Yeah. I mean, they pretty much became their father.
Yeah.
In the end.
I mean, that's what happens with trauma. If it's not addressed, it's going to keep coming back, you know? And then you teach someone else, and then they teach someone else. And it's this whole birthing.
The birthing of the trauma.
The birth.
Oh!
But, yeah, I agree with you. Max's trauma of, like, witnessing and having to take care and being exhausted, you know, isn't... I mean... it's hard.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
We can't say one trauma is worse than the other trauma.
No, it's just different, though, it feels like. It feels like they're not... At least... And this is really coming from a viewer standpoint, you know? Like, I'm not even talking about just trauma in real life. I'm just talking about specifically in this story. Mm-hmm. It felt disjointed. It felt disconnected to each other, where it just kind of bogged down what the character development was. It also seemed like part of that was to somewhat play with this idea of building sympathy for Avery and Philip. I feel like we were supposed to feel bad for them because they had this pedophilic father, which obviously is a terrible thing.
Yeah.
But I never felt any sympathy.
No.
For especially Philip. Philip fucking sucked. And the whole time Avery's being like this weird, creepy thing. Before we found out the truth, I wrote down multiple times, like, she's got weird things going on. She has that moment in the car with the gun. She's like pointing at me.
She's pointing at me. With two hands, pointing at me. Cock it.
Cock it.
Cock it.
I'm not gonna shoot you. I know you're not gonna shoot me.
Just cock it. Do it. She would go from like serious to be like, just do it.
Yeah.
And they kept drinking off of that Inferno bottle of bourbon, whiskey,
liquor, general liquor.
And yeah, they kept so winging at that thing, but she wouldn't drink. She would just like kind of put it in her lip and you know. And I mean that could also answer the question as to why he was so passive.
Yeah.
Because she did a couple of really weird fucking shit.
Yeah.
That after that gun scene, we both said out loud, like, I would have left.
Yes.
And no matter how drunk I am, I would have left.
When he opens the glove box and sees the gun, I'm like, I'm gonna go. I'm not even taking the gun out. I just close the glove box and go, I'm getting out of the car now.
Because all she said was, oh, look at the glove box.
No.
It wasn't even conversation as to, like, I sometimes feel, you know, like, unsafe, blah, blah, blah. Just to let you know, there is a gun there. That would have been casual conversation. But no, she's a psycho, and she was like...
This weird game.
Get that gun, and point it at me.
And this goes back to, like, what I was talking about before is, I don't have sympathy for her because she's pulling these, like, crazy, insane stunts. And I'm just like, what is the point of this scene, too? Because,
I don't know.
Again, I feel like they're really trying to make us sympathize with her as a character and what she's gone through. But it seems like this, where I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I think this seems more than just you feeding a house. This almost seems like you're like getting off on these games that you're playing with people, kidnapping children and feeding people to this deity or whatever it is.
Yeah, and the thing is, well, two things about that scene. One of them, it was supposed to let us know, the viewer, that there is something absolutely crazy going on.
Check. And
second of all, that our main character, Max, is passive. Mm-hmm. He doesn't seem like he's ever held a gun. He isn't leveling up to her craziness, no matter how drunk he is. And it proves to her that they can't throw him in there as bait, and he's not going to fight back.
Mm-hmm. They lock him in.
Yeah.
He's locked in.
So we're going back up the stairs. The walls are oozing with like black tar goo thing.
Yummy.
And then we get a shot that's low. And it goes right to the edge of the bed.
Uh-huh.
And then it like circles around. So it looks like we're about to like devour our prey.
Yeah, it's
you
like,
know.
or like this is our offering. He's on a big plate kind of thing.
Yeah, I felt like the monster. I was like, ooh, are we the monster right now?
Nice.
And then he like breaks away, and then he discovers a child.
There's a child hiding in the walls, I guess. He's Rudy. Quote, self-proclaimed best hider. And he was hiding in a closet.
He was not.
That was the worst.
Sucked.
He sucked.
I am the best hider. No one has found me yet.
She's been hiding in here for a year and no one has found her.
Don't tell my parents.
Don't tell. They meet up and now they're kind of teamed up. Rudy reveals that Avery coaxed him there by telling him that his lost bike was at this house, and then they locked him inside.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Terrible people.
You're offering up the ghost of your pedophilic father a male child. Oh. Yikers.
Yeah, and this child, the way that Max was treating him, he should have been younger, but he's like a big boy. He's 8 years old, and he's being picked up and like put down by Max, and I'm like, he's 8. He can do these things by himself.
Yeah, like, it's kind of... I think they were trying to make this tie of like Max gave up taking care of his mother. He sees this kid in need and decides that he wants to take care of this kid like he should have.
Yeah, he's a good caretaker.
Yes, for sure. And so they were trying to make like their relationship like kind of cute, and
they're the same.
Yeah, they're in the same situation, and he's important to Max. He's important to Max because he's someone he can take care of. Mm-hmm. And he puts a lot of importance on this child by the end. I'm just like, I don't really see their connection really that much.
He gets Rudy out of the house.
Yes. When
they leave the bedroom, he like squeezes that poor little boy in the door, and then he goes into the basement by himself, and that's where he like watches that thing, and then he's trying to leave through the cellar doors. Yeah, the cellar door, and then they just like throw him water and throw Rudy in there again. It's like, no!
Get back! I still like you, though.
I still like you. Also, let him die.
Just let the kid die. This is where the pedophilic father would do and record his assaults, it seems like.
Max walks into frame.
In the background.
Of the... Yeah, so it started becoming very, like...
Because then that made me think, murky. Wait, is he the young kid? Because I was like, why is he there? Is he, like, looking at his own memory? But I don't think so. I think it was them just trying to be, like, cool. Look at this cool thing.
Like,
it's, like, all mixing or something.
But also, so... Because, like, then Max knocks it out.
Yeah. He sees himself and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Which, that would make me feel really weird.
Definitely.
So I wonder... I don't know. Ugh. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they're making us work too hard to
I wish it did. I wish it did make sense. I wish he also, like, at the end was like, I was also molested or something.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
To the mom or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no tie that he can make with his trauma to what happened in that house. So how is he supposed to have, like, a cathartic moment of learning something, or just, I don't know. It just felt, like I said, disjointed. It felt like we're trying to solve and keep things up in the air. Too many things.
Too many things.
Overwritten a little overwritten here.
Whoa.
Wow, that's a pedophile story. Whoa.
Yeah,
They're like going through the basement, and there's like a bunch of like tar-covered men. They're just covered in
something,
like soot or something.
in the thing that keeps falling off the
oozing
walls.
stuff.
What if they were the people that past people that they
fed to the house? Yeah. Why were they like middle-aged men? Why was Avery like pulling like 50, 40-year-old men to this house?
Yeah.
Get them a little older, Avery. That's how I like them. This is the house talking. I want a little. All right, let's try a young kid now.
No.
Yeah, I don't know who those guys were.
Okay, never mind.
I really don't.
I try to
We're trying. It's hard. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And then he runs upstairs to try to escape, but then we have this moment where he has to decide, oh, am I going to escape now or am I going to go help the kid?
Yes. This is where, so when they run, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I remembered. And this is when we get the whole thing is like, he's like, I'm going to go upstairs or something like that. You hide. And he's like, I'm a good hider. Hides behind a fucking cardboard big thing that's like just,
horrible spot.
Put next to a wall.
Yeah.
And anytime he talks, the whole thing moves. It's just like, Rudy, you're an 8-year-old big boy.
You can't hide there, man. It's a and it obviously doesn't work because they get him.
Because he was just
he comes out of his hiding spot.
He's like, I'm a good hider. I'm just gonna stand right in the middle of the damn basement.
Rudy, you are absolutely the worst hider.
Stupid
boy. And he pays for it because guess what? Rot creep gets him.
Yeah.
And Rudy comes out and he's like all gooey and oozy, and then he sits on the bed and he just like rots away. Turns like all black and like gooey. And Max breaks down. He's like,
where were you? Where were you, Max? And then he starts fucking... Till this point, I thought that the actor Boo Boo, who started in Twilight and X-Men and a Disney show, I thought he wrote this movie. He didn't.
He didn't.
No, he didn't. But I was like, this is what he wrote for himself so then he can have this breakdown.
It's a big scene.
This big scene, his big moment.
Yes. Where oh my gosh, I let the kid die. I left my mother and I didn't take care of her.
Yeah.
It's all just coming out in this moment. And then he goes in that mirror room scene, in that mirror room for a second, which I didn't get it.
I didn't get it. That is where he got Rudy from.
Right. Rudy was in there.
But then for him, when he opens it, it's just shattered mirrors with the most epileptic scene I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was flashing.
It was insane. He's hanging.
Flashing.
Lights. That was not playing.
No.
It was...
It should have. It would have made the movie so much better.
Yeah, I wish.
But they couldn't get the rights.
Yeah, no budget for that.
No.
We have to put more broken glass in this one room.
Kanye would have come in and just like try to edit the shit out of it.
Nope, we're taking all this down.
This sucks.
This is terrible. Avery, you're not wearing that hat for sure. Take that hat off.
You mean the kid, Rudy?
Oh, yeah, Rudy. Avery, Rudy, whatever. No one's wearing hats in this movie.
No one wears hats.
Put that hat down.
So then
he's like
just staring.
I just don't get that scene.
Yeah, no.
It's stupid.
Ooh, like goo.
More gooping.
See, the thing is, there are some cool shots and cool like camera work and stuff that are going on that on its own could have been a cool, college homework presentation.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, this is great. Expand on this. Like,
exactly.
I would like to see what 3 minutes of this will be.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turned into a movie that
cool looking, but served nothing to the plot.
Nothing.
And it just leaving us here with being like, why is that in there? why is that in the room where this child was, I'm assuming, molested by the rot creep and then just turned to black goop? But why? I don't know. It's just, it's too hard for us to, like, figure out what's going on. And it's not really rooted in anything for us to even, like, try to grab onto of, like, oh, this is what this might mean. We don't even have that.
No.
It's just hard for us to...
We're like, maybe this is where it's going.
I'm trying to help. I'm trying
to help.
My best here.
And
so Rudy dead.
Rudy dead.
Rudy goop.
We go into the mirror room.
We're
there for like 2 minutes.
Of us, like, trying not to seize.
Yeah. And then he goes into, presumably, the living room that is, like, heavily curtained and looks like a Twin Peak kind of room. He sits down. There's a show going on from the 50s, 40s.
Seems like the 50s, yeah. Very Leave It to Beaver.
And then he's laughing.
And crying, I think.
He's, like, losing it.
Yeah.
He's losing it. And then he tries to go and smoke a cigar. He looks at the blade in which he cuts the cigar. And then we're like, oh, fuck, he's going to cut himself or something.
Kill himself.
Because he started drinking that Infernal again.
I think he had that moment of, like, am I going to kill myself or am I going to keep fighting? And so he makes the decision.
Because that's what her paper's about.
Yes.
Avery's paper is about whether they should run or fight. And then this is how they keep fighting.
This is his moment?
Feeding.
That's their decision.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They make their decision of just feeding the house to just... Yeah.
How's that fighting? That seems like running.
That's definitely running. Oh, they're for sure running from their problems.
Yeah.
And then he's now making his decision to fight and pull the old switcheroo on them. So he, like, has this, like, moment of, like, I'm gonna fight. And then we go outside to the siblings talking about being really shitty, because they are. And somehow in that time, Max escapes. He gets out to the side door. And then they go in. Phil goes in and he sees that Rudy is dead. And he's like, it's over! We did it!
We
made it! And the sister, Avery, is just kind of like, oh man, I miss Max already.
She was like, where's Max?
Max, oh, he's gone. And then switcheroo! Max locks him in the house. And she's like, hold my hand. I promise I'll never hurt you again. Hold my hand.
Hold my hand, please.
I promise.
No, for what it's worth, I hate that line too.
Yeah.
It is so real.
Well, it means nothing.
For what it's worth, I really wanted it to be a date.
I hate
That's the only thing I've lied to you about.
Yeah, and he's like, your story, you said you only had 2 options. To stay or to walk away. I found the third option. Psh, burn it down.
Bitch.
And he burns down the house with both of them in it.
Yeah.
Is
it over?
Is it over? No.
What? Why?
We got about 10 more minutes of him walking out the driveway, calling his mom. We're like, oh, okay, he reached out to his mom. Yay. Character movement. And then, no, he's got to walk all the way back up the driveway to watch the house burn more.
Why? But also, the weirdest thing is that we follow him all the way to, like, the end of the cornfield, end of that, driveway. Yeah. He calls his mother on a flip phone, first of all. Flip phone. And then she answers. I've never heard someone talking on the phone that was a bad actor.
Oh, honey.
Oh, honey. Oh.
Thank God you called.
No, I know, honey. Oh my God. That was even better than that.
Yeah, I would say that was actually selling it pretty well.
Yeah, thank you very much. But then he, like, walks off the frame.
Yeah.
And I was like, finally, it's over.
Oh, okay.
No! We continue with him.
Why do we go back with him?
Yeah. And then that's when he starts walking towards the house.
And then we continue all the way down. And it's just him watching that house burn for what seems like another 5 minutes. And then the weirdest thing happens, and I do not understand. He turns back towards the camera, and he's, like, looking off the shot. and a person just kind of steps in, and you just see the side of them and their shoulder. He's just staring at them for a good 30 seconds, and then from off camera, cut, and then it's blackout. It's like, wait, huh? Why?
I don't know.
Who is that person? First of all, second of all, we just heard cut. Like, we're really breaking the fourth wall that hard, and why? Because this movie has not been about like the director or the filmmaking at all.
You know who I wish could yell cut? Any Saw movie. So it could let me know, like, hey, let's break the fourth wall. Hey, guys, this is not real. But no, they just make them realer and realer.
I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
It just ended, cut, we're done.
It ended with more questions.
Was that like them being like, oh, look at how awesome like this one long shot was? Like, oh, we're filmmakers.
Yes.
We did it.
I think so.
We finally cut.
We cut it. You happy?
Good
93
job.
minutes.
Good job.
Of a long ass fucking thing.
Oh man, we made it through.
It was
cut.
Yeah.
Okay, well, those who walk away.
Those who walk away are named Sam and Leslie. Thank you so much for
joining us.
We walked away.
All right, well, let us get to these Smashing Pumpkins. If we can get through it.
We have.
This has been one continuous shot.
Yeah,
by the way.
one continuous.
One continuous shot.
93 minutes.
Yeah. So you know.
And we make still no sense.
This is
of
true.
The movie.
We're trying. We tried our best.
We tried. If you're confused, we're confused, and I will remain confused. Let's get to this. We've spoken about how we tend to be more generous when we are giving out these Smashing Pumpkins because there is some element that we do like in the film.
Mm-hmm.
My element for this film is the fact that I recognize someone. That's always really cool. But I do like the film work that they did, regardless of whether it made sense or not. Those few scenes, those standalone scenes that they did that were more creative, I wish it could have been all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have cared if anything was answered or if there were any questions. If it was just like a cool fucking thing, then that would have been awesome.
Yep.
Did not appreciate the moments of absolute just turning around and around and around the camera. First one, cool. Fifth one, hey.
Ew.
Perhaps you don't see this in more films because it does disorient and make you feel sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that is why I'm giving it a 1.5.
I know 1.5. Smash Pumpkin.
I'm giving it that 0.5 for the fact that I knew someone.
Cool.
And that's that 1 star for the camera work.
Fair. And my critiques are pretty much the same. I think that there's very cool shots. Some of the cinematography was very interesting. There was very cool spaces that they were moving through. Mm-hmm. This idea that it is one long take. Very cool idea, and it forces them to be creative. And they were, at points, very creative with how they were manipulating the space and the camera to move through the space. I wish that they told the story more, though. That was the thing, is they were cool shots that I didn't feel like were enhancing or continuing to tell our story.
No.
It felt like the story got left behind, this idea that we're going to do one long take and move through all the spaces in this kind of creative... They got bogged down by that.
Yeah. What can we add?
Yeah. And so the story felt disjointed to me, and unfortunately, it didn't feel like strong character development on either end with Max or Avery.
I didn't care who made it out.
Yeah.
I didn't care at the end. I didn't give a fuck.
Honestly, I didn't care if Rudy died.
I didn't feel any sympathy.
No, sorry, Rudy. Didn't really care
Yeah.
if he died. And it's unfortunate because there were these really cool moments, and I hope that these filmmakers continue to take those moments that we really did enjoy and really expand on them.
Yeah,
and
expand on that.
And I think that also praise to completing a film. It's hard to make a film.
That is hard.
So the fact that they did do that, and it was such a massive undertaking of trying to be one shot and all this kind of stuff with the stuff that they did accomplish, definitely deserve praise for that. So very, very cool as far as cinematically goes. Unfortunately, the story just got lost in there, and our characters got lost, and then unfortunately we got lost. We got lost. Yeah. I think I am going to give it a 1 out of 5. I'm gonna give it that 1. I don't know anybody. Sorry, I don't know anybody in it, so I can't give that 0.5. Lo siento.
Lo siento.
All right. Those who walk away, we will leave in the past.
We would leave you in the past. Thank you so much for making it in our bucket.
Yeah.
Taught us a lot.
Taught us a lot of things. They can't all be good.
No, and I think, if this person does not give up, don't listen to the ratings and anything. Keep going.
For sure.
Be passionate. And I feel like you can get somewhere, and your love for horror can be, shown throughout the movie.
Absolutely.
Your David Lynch, if that was an inspiration, it shows.
Definitely. Yeah. So, what are we going to watch next week, huh?
Yeah.
What are we going to watch next week?
Let's do it.
Let's see what we got. All right.
Oh, you picked this one, right?
I think so.
I'm going to pick this one now.
You do it. What do we have? All right.
All right.
Ooh.
All right. I'm not going to read what it is.
Cool.
A mild-mannered man becomes a local hero through an act of violence, which sets off repercussions that will shake his family to its very core.
Ooh.
It's a David Cronenberg movie.
Uh-oh. We're back to Cronenberg again, huh? Oh, boy. What do we got? I don't know.
The History of Violence.
History of Violence.
Oh, Lord.
Cronenberg.
Are we gonna die? It's
We might
from
die.
2005.
Very cool.
I don't think I've heard about this. Have I? History of Violence. I think you were the one that has mentioned this to me.
I probably, because Viggo Mortensen's also in this movie.
Viggo Mortensen.
He was in Crimes of the
Oh,
Future.
that actor?
The main actor, yeah.
Ooh.
Aragon.
Well, then.
Yes. Yeah. All right, cool.
I can look it up.
More Cronenberg.
Afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah. Woo!
Back to Cronenberg. We can't escape him.
Back to Cronenberg. All right.
All right.
Well,
Cool. Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. My name is Leslie.
My name is Leslie. My name is Sam.
You can find me on Instagram at ColorMeLeslie.
And me at BeepBeepRichieT.
Beep, beep,
And
beep.
us at the Deadlights Pod.
Nice.
Also, check out Playground Social, which is the studio that we're recording this at.
Mm.
But until
Next time.
let's get spooky.
I am rock creep and I'm gonna get you maybe.
Rock creep.